My name is Tim Hill, and for almost 18 years I have served as a church musician and music educator in the upstate of South Carolina. My experiences and education have shaped who I am and how I approach music ministry. I have been blessed to have had great teachers, mentors, and friends who have helped guide and shape how I teach and lead in the church. In approaching the topic of effective music ministry, I want to share just a few things that can help pastors, musicians, and laity as they plan music for the church. In my experiences with different pastors and congregations, and through knowledge I have gained from books and seminars, I have found one very important truth. Music ministry at its best is a cooperative venture among congregation, pastor, and musician. Though each has its own particular role to play, a concerted effort towards a common goal not only makes its actual achievement more likely, but also produces a spirit of cooperation absolutely essential to healthy corporate life. Let's begin first by looking at the congregation's involvement in music ministry. Congregations are the focal point. Everything that is composed, planned, practiced, and performed should benefit the entire assembly. All church music, therefore, must be attuned to the congregation. There are three popular uses for church music that should always have the congregation in mind. First, the use of church music to convey textual information gives religious witness via the words of the songs. This is the area under which most of our corporate singing takes place. These songs are generally more popular in nature in that the melodies are familiar or likable. In choosing what pleases people, musicians, like other communicators, keep the taste of the audiences in the foremost of their thinking. Music as textual information is successful to the extent that musicians choose songs that are easily understood, relevant, and enjoyable. Great care should be taken to ensure the message of the text is not lost or watered down in the emotion of the music. While connecting emotions and spirituality through worship and music is important, the goal of church music as textual information is direct communication. So be sure the congregation understands what they are singing about. Second, using church music as utilitarian function can also be very beneficial when executed properly to the congregation. In this area, music is regarded as a tool, facilitator, or mechanism for serving a practical purpose. Whether it is a rousing prelude to awaken the congregation's spirit for worship, or a soothing and calm intermezzo as we prepare for communion. The purpose of such music should always be to benefit the congregation. Finally, church music can be used as offering. That is, music is felt to be a sacrificial act or an offering to God. With this usage, two approaches exist. The first thought holds that music is personal in nature, offered from the heart of the performer directly to the heart of God, while a second thought emphasizes the quality of the music. We are admonished to give God the best of our gifts and talents and abilities, so the objective goodness of the musical composition as well as the artistry of the performance are of paramount importance. Both of these approaches seem to disregard the collective nature of Christian worship, yet it should be acknowledged that a certain congregational awareness on the part of the director must be present. If the first thought regarding individualized offering is stressed, it is important for the music to be accessible and meaningful for the worshiper. If, however, importance is placed on the quality of music, the music being given to God on behalf of the congregation, perhaps by a choir performer, then the congregation must still be considered. Such a musical offering should be selected on the basis of the congregation's ability to comprehend it. Church music's purpose goes far beyond the limits usually assumed. Spiritual health and character may be built up or torn down, helped or hindered, strengthened or weakened by music. Without the congregation's awareness of the higher purpose of church music, its ability to function as a collective body will suffer. As I said earlier, music ministry at its best is a cooperative venture among congregation, pastor, and musician. We've discussed the congregation in great detail, mainly because it is such a focal point in the music ministry. However, pastors also greatly influence the music program. Pastoral authority can vary from church to church based on a variety of issues, but in most cases, the senior pastor will oversee the music program in some way. It is safe to say that most pastors assume more control than the directors prefer, and likewise, directors usually want more control than the pastor prefers. Pastors who are genuinely interested in the welfare of church music recognize the difference between music as ministry and music as entertainment. They understand the importance given to music as corporate worship in the life of God's people, as shown in 2 Chronicles 5, Psalm 149, and many other places in the Old Testament. And they help us live out Paul's message in Ephesians 5 to speak to one another with psalms, hymns, and songs from the Spirit as we sing and make music from your heart to the Lord. Pastors who recognize and support the biblical truths of church music and seek to integrate it into the life of the church offer the best type of leadership for advancing the work of an informed music ministry. The final part of our cooperative venture in music ministry is the most obvious, the musician. As facilitators of amateur music making, church musicians know that volunteerism, at its best, depends heavily upon an alive, vigorous, and exuberant enthusiasm. Technical brilliance becomes secondary. Energy and connectedness count far more than technical correctness and help to measure the music program's vitality. Even so, church musicians continually strive for excellence to fulfill God's mandate to give our very best. The point of music in the church and the musicians' pastoral work are their spiritual impact on the life of the congregation. Musicians have a prophetic role to play in the assembly, which makes them ministers in the highest sense of the word. Ordained or not, church musicians have a call to ministry. Church musicians also need to be teachers. Even when they choose music for its spiritual character, its full potential will be lost unless the congregation recognizes its spiritual dimension. Playing the right music without reflecting upon its ultimate meaning is just as undesirable as playing the wrong music for the right reasons. The assembly needs teaching in musical and spiritual concepts. Church music, as I pointed out earlier, can have many uses or purposes. Music carries text. It can be used for preludes, offertories, postludes, and it is a vehicle for our praise and worship. Music covers silence and noise, generates moods, accompanies liturgical action, and is contemplated purely for its beauty. For many congregations, pastors, and musicians, these are the prime reasons for which church music exists. Such points, however, are superficial and do not begin to cover the realm of church music possibilities. Church music is, without question, functional, but fulfilling just any function will not do. Function must grow out of a well-conceived, biblically based objective, an objective that can only be reached through cooperation among the congregation, pastor, and musician. It is through this cooperation, along with prayer and study, that your music ministry will be at its best. Thank you for listening, and to God be the glory.